Our last reader will be Audrey Peterson. She's a writer and former editor of the Black History and Cultural magazine, American Legacy. Tonight she will read From the Making of an American Girl, a memoir about her biracial family and the mystery of her German grandfather.
I don't remember why I was in the basement with my mother that day. I could have been helping her with the laundry, but no, I remember her standing by the freezer and the door was open. Food is not stored in that freezer. Hasn't been for many years. Not food, but papers, important papers, are stored there. Before you start marking my mom as eccentric, let me describe this freezer. It is a battleship, a behemoth. It dwarfs my 5'4" mom. It nearly dwarfs me, who is 5'9", and built like my dad's side of the family. Not to fall, not to be pushed, not to be messed with. The freezer has a lock with walls thick enough to last through most fires, although who knows? Theirs were wills, savings bonds, insurance policies, fresh blank checks, deeds, and all other essential original documents reside. My passports are there, including my infant one, with a photo of me cross-eyed and bald, my footprint stamped inside instead of fingerprints. This was telemetry in 1962. Birth certificates are there too. Dad's reissued by the Army and based on the testimony of an Alabama midwife. My brother's issued at Walson Army Hospital in Fort Dix. My four, the U.S. Army Hospital Certificate of Birth, the Department of State Foreign Service of the United States of American Certification of Birth, the report of child born abroad of American parents, and the German Geburtsurkunde. And my mom is calling my name. Audrey, come here, she's saying sharply, because I didn't move instantly the first time she called. I must have been daydreaming while I was doing whatever it was I was doing. She had a serious look on her face. She had a red cloth-bound book in her hand, about 9 by 12 inches. On the cover in gold is a German imperial eagle that sits atop a wreath. In the center of the wreath, a swastika. Underneath the eagle is printed Unser Familienbuch. My mom opens it up and shows a neatly written entry with her name, Wilma Elizabeth Hess, her birthplace, and birth date and place of birth. A stamp with a swastika partially covers the entry. Above my mother's entry is her parents' record of marriage. Below it is an entry for my uncle, her brother. After that, nothing is written. My mother opens the book wider and says real low, "Here are all the rules we had to follow about not mixing with Jews." I barely get a glimpse before she shuts the book and puts it back on its shelf in the freezer. I have plans to look at it closely again later. The rules my mother was talking about were the Nuremberg laws on citizenship and race, and the law for the protection of German blood and German honor, established in 1935. Recently, I found a link on the internet to someone who was selling a family book and a description. This fantastic book was meant to be a guide for the German family to follow the National Socialist rules regarding purity of blood, involvement in Nazi organizations, etc. It was also meant to be a remembrance book for the future generations in this family. There are a lot of pages with space for entries or to paste in photos. And at the end of the description, a nice quotation of Reichsfuhrer SS Heinrich Himmler regarding the importance of the purity of the race. Many pages contain quotations from top Nazis. By rights, my father, brother, and I should be listed in the Familienbuch, as well as my sister-in-law Jill, who is of full Japanese descent, and my brother's 2 boys. I want to paste some family photos into the Familienbuch, and by some great magic, mail it back to Hitler moments before he commits suicide. Before he dies, I want him to see the future of his 1,000-year Reich. my father, my mother, my brother, and me. Thank you.